Hi, this is Dan Cortopassi of TSG Multimedia. Today I'm reviewing an N-scale Norfolk and Western Class J 484 locomotive from Bachmann Spectrum. My example is decorated as number 611. The real 611 was built in 1950. The locomotive is preserved today at the Virginia Museum of Transportation. This model is DCC ready and has an MSRP of $229. The paint on the engine looks good, although it is a little bit thick. The markings are crisp and the red stripe is opaque. The model has good detail, including freestanding grab irons and railings. The grab irons on the back of the engine and on the tender would look better painted black to match the prototype. The piping detail below the cab has a tendency to fall off when the model is handled, but it is easy enough to put back in place. The front of the engine has a separately applied grab iron, uncoupling lever, and non-functional glass lights. The pilot is molded with the coupler in the closed position, but a working coupler can be installed if desired. 2 Arnold Rapido-style couplers are included in the box. The stenciling on the rear of the tender is legible with magnification. The backup light is functional. The body-mounted knuckle coupler on the tender is low according to the Microtrain's height gauge. The N&W Class J's were semi-streamlined and had clean lines, but there is still good detail on the top of the locomotive. The separately applied recessed bell is a neat feature. The top of the tender has a coal load and good hatch detail. There are separate metal grab irons, but I think they would look better painted black. The locomotive picks up current from the drivers only. There are traction tires on the third driver set. The tender has good brake system detail. An opening for a speaker is visible on the bottom. All 12 wheels on the tender are used to pick up current. Several of the wheel sets are narrow in gauge, including 3 of the drivers. The locomotive and tender are semi-permanently connected by a drawbar and cannot be easily separated. The engine and tender together weigh 6.4 ounces. I measured 0.8 ounces of drawbar pull on my force gauge. I'm running it on DC. It's a pretty smooth runner with good low-speed capability. There is a bit of gear noise. I'll run it so we can take a look at the headlight. It's brighter in the forward direction and dims when the engine is in reverse. The backup light is brighter when the engine is going backwards and dimmer when it's going forward. While I was checking the lights, one of the traction tires came off. There's no slot cut in the driver, so it should be possible to just leave the traction tire off if you wanted to. There are 2 screws on the bottom of the tender that can be used to open it up. If you want to install DCC, this is how you would do it. This is a decent model of N&W 611 that runs pretty well. I'm sure many fans of Norfolk and Western Steam would like to have one of these in their collection. I've never had a traction tire come off before during a review, but I was holding the locomotive in place. Since that isn't how the engine would normally be used, I'm not going to take a spike for that. I am concerned about the wheel gauge though, especially since fixing the gauge on steam engine drivers is a big job. I'm going to take 2 spikes for that because of the labor involved. I'm also going to take a spike for the coupler height. My final verdict is 7 out of 10 spikes.